Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to my sketchbook tour video. This is my sketchbook from Belfast Met, level 3 art and design, and this was my first sketchbook of the first term. Here we'll have one of the first exercises we did in Belfast Met, making a handmade concertina and filling it with doodles. This was to try and get us into the rhythm of drawing and get us opened up to the language of drawing and mark making. So this here was just basically wee studies, and the marks were made based on emotions. So we have angry, fluffy, happy, floaty, bubbly, etc. Just using ink and scratching in the ink with a craft knife, I think it was at the time. And then the next few pages are just animal skull drawings, just using different sort of drawing techniques. So I think this first one's just more of a linear drawing, just capturing the overall shape. And then we'll have a continuous line drawing, just keeping the pencil and not moving it from the page, and it gives you sort of energetic marks. And then this here's a wax resist inspired by Henry Moore's wax resist paintings. Bit of a bleach painting here, bit of a messy one to do. Then a lift out technique, just different wee techniques to get us familiar with drawing and mark making. Then a wee bit of contextual research on Henry Moore on your left and on your right, just photographs I took myself, looking at lines in the environment. And then the genius himself, Mr. Pablo Picasso, and one of my copies on the right. This here was of his wife before last, Francoise Gillot, an artist in her own right, with a Bridget Riley, and then laying in the tone different studies, using the different pencil grades, seeing what you can get with a 9B, 5B and HB, just seeing what each tool does before you sort of make stronger work. Goodwin, Da Vinci, good artists. The bamboo drawn on your right hand side, that was sellotaping a bit of tape to the end of a bamboo stick, drawn at a distance. That gave me a bit more freedom to work, which was sort of helpful, a bit more spontaneous marks. A couple of animal skulls and bones studies. Tonal wash, that was just experimenting with watercolour, trying to get more tonal marks into the piece. Then blend and tone. Now that piece didn't hold up too well, sadly. I think the highlights have rubbed off it. Then wax transfer technique. I think I know I mucked it up. Should have added more waxing, I think, at the time, but I was just experimenting at this stage. That there chalk drawing hasn't held up too badly now. And then we have a pottery room in the campus, so I got the chance to experiment and make pinch pots and coil pots. Just seeing what I could do with clay. It's fun wee things to make. Slab roll, and that was imprinting leaves and twigs that were found around the campus into clay, and further on in the year we made wee tiles out of them, but this was just making the pattern at this stage. A bit of frottage techniques, a fun one to do, inspired by Max Ernst. Just from rubbings around the campus, so rubbed into bins, signs, etc. Then just a wee write up on texture and what texture is. It was getting more into how I could incorporate line to create texture at this stage. So obviously Van Gogh and various other artists. And this here was a good wee study on texture, the shells, a couple of pencil studies, and then collage. Collage was pretty big, as you can see, compared to the shell. It was a fun one to do. This was from our first trip to the Ulster Museum. We're looking at the natural history section, just nature and how it's constructed, so skeletons and taxidermy animals and just how they're put together. Great studies. Highly recommend anybody from Belfast to go and check out the Ulster Museum. Plenty of inspiration. That fish terrified me, so it would. FYI. A couple more animal studies. Penguin and elephant's foot, leg, foot, either or. And then just photographs from the day trip. And then some more clay work. So this was our tripod textured slab cup. And second term we're starting to think more independently, so we're given a theme and we had to make work around that theme. This was Nature's Bounty, so that was just a wee mind map, which led me on to working with fruit. I think at the time it was just because you could get different sort of colours, textures, and it incorporated everything we learnt at the beginning of the year, which was good. So I've done quite a few studies in fruit, and I think I carried it on the second year, if I remember right. I'll need to go through the sketchbooks. But I was very drawn to pineapples at the time, I don't know why. And then there's the wee, on your left hand side, the tiles from the imprinting. And then a bit of monoprint. I think we only had a couple of classes. But it was just nice to sort of make different marks and see what we could do. And then the famous pineapples. Every way but the right way. A couple of gouache studies, which I don't think I've used before, but wasn't the worst thing in the world to use as a medium. Pencil and oil pastel, looking at Degas, he's a fantastic pastel artist. Highly recommend him. And then Mum got me those there Sangang pencils. Da Vinci used them, so I thought may as well try a couple of things with them. Didn't get anywhere near Da Vinci standard, but I was happy enough. Bit more charcoal left out. I think the charcoal left out was a bit messy, so I didn't really do an awful lot of them. And wax resist. Just more of the pomegranates. The pomegranates were a fun wee study to do, but I think it was just very time consuming. I think towards the end everybody was just trying to get work done to get it assessed and progress on to second year. Combination of collage and watercolour on a big apple piece. Yeah, and Anish Kapoor on your right there I was looking at. And then this was looking at glazing techniques with Amanda. She's a fantastic artist herself. She was showing us the work of Dwayne Kaiser. Showed us she would have been our painting teacher of first year. Learned quite a bit from her, so thank you, Amanda, if you're listening. And then a visit to the Royal Ulster Academy. Catherine Craney, fantastic artist. Then coleograph. I made a coleograph, but I didn't get it shellacked, so I don't have any physical prints from it, sadly. And then that was just glazing what done on the ceramic work, which I have some, as we speak, and some I think giveaway. And then this was just a midway evaluation with what we're hoping to do with Nature's Bounty and final pieces to be exhibited for assessment. So I think just out of simplicity, I stuck with apples. Simplicity really is key whenever you're creating art. Don't overcomplicate the process. And then this was just my final piece. I planned to bit into an apple, and it was just showing the progression of me feeding my belly, basically. Quite a bit of writing. I hated all that writing, but what can you do? But that's it. Thanks very much for watching. Hope it was informative. Cheers.